You have to help me. They hit my mom. She's dying. The 7-year-old girl grabbed Jonathan Williams's gray uniform with trembling hands. Jonathan was mopping the 40th floor when little Sophie Blackwood ran from her mother's office. It was 11 at night. The building was empty. The only person who could help was the black janitor whom executives greeted with polite but distant nods. Jonathan dropped the cleaning cart. Sophie pointed to the president's office where muffled screams came from inside. Jonathan was 34, working as a janitor for 2 years. To everyone, he was invisible, silent, someone who kept rooms spotless while important people handled million-dollar business. What no one knew was that Jonathan carried scars that told a very different story. He crouched to Sophie's height. "Go to that closet and stay inside until I come back. Don't come out for anything." Inside, Rachel Blackwood, CEO of the country's largest technology company, was being beaten by 3 men in suits. "Hey!" Jonathan shouted. The men turned, one laughing contemptuously. "Look, the janitor wants to play hero. Get out of here. This is none of your business," another spat, showing a gun at his waist. In 3 precise movements, the 3 men were unconscious. His body moved with military fluidity that contrasted with the submissive janitor everyone knew. Rachel stared, blood dripping from her lip. "How did you... Who are you?" "Just a janitor who was in the right place." When police arrived, something strange happened. Instead of treating Jonathan like a hero, officers asked suspicious questions. "You were alone with her when we arrived," said Detective Morrison. "How do we know you weren't involved?" "He saved me," Rachel protested. But Jonathan saw that familiar expression. To them, a black man alone with an injured, wealthy white woman could only mean one thing. 3 hours later, Jonathan sat in an interrogation room. "You said you were mopping, but cameras show you standing in the same spot for 15 minutes, Morrison said. "Why were you spying?" Jonathan kept calm. "I wasn't spying, I was doing my job." 3 armed men attack one of the richest women in town, and the only one who can save her is you. What a coincidence. At the hospital, Dr. Martinez called Rachel. "The blood results show you were drugged with Rohypnol before the attack. Someone planned this carefully." Rachel's mind flew to the board meeting where she'd rejected Vincent Sterling's merger proposal. "You'll regret this decision," he'd said. "There are ways to make stubborn people change their minds." Now she understood. At the station, Morrison tightened the noose. "I think you were working with those men." Jonathan smiled calmly. "If I was working with them, why is Rachel Blackwood still alive?" He leaned forward. "Have you checked street cameras from 10:47 to 10:52 p.m.? A black van with no plates stopped outside. 3 men got out. At 10:52, the same van sped away with 3 unconscious men thrown inside." The detectives looked at each other. "How do you know that?" "Because I have a habit of noticing things that don't make sense." "But you're a janitor." Jonathan kept smiling. "Yes, I've been a janitor for 2 years. Before that, I had other occupations." The door opened. "I'm attorney Amanda Foster, representing Mr. Williams. This conversation is over." As they walked out, Amanda stopped. "Captain Jonathan Williams, Army Special Forces, 3 tours in Afghanistan, Medal of Honor. Yes, your background. Now we need to talk about why a war hero is working as a janitor, and why someone powerful wants both you and Rachel Blackwood to disappear." Outside, a man in a dark car called Vincent. "The janitor is ex-military, Special Forces." Vincent's voice was cold. "I don't care. Everyone has a price or a weak spot. Find his." The next morning, Jonathan met Amanda at a cafe. "What did you find out?" Amanda opened a folder. "Vincent Sterling isn't just corrupt. He's at the center of a corporate intimidation network operating for 15 years. Rachel wasn't the first victim. She slid photos across. At least 16 documented cases, executives who refused business with Vincent. Some died, others disappeared. Meanwhile, Vincent shouted at investigators. Everyone has skeletons. A black janitor who's former military, there has to be something. The lead investigator cleared his throat. Clean record, impeccable military history, 3 medals, no debts, no vices. The guy is literally a saint. There are no saints. Find something. Amanda smiled. First, protect Rachel and Sophie. I have contacts from my army days who can keep them safe. Second, we need evidence. Vincent is careful, but arrogant men make mistakes when provoked. Like a black janitor who dared to save her from his clutches. That will eat at his ego until he makes a fatal mistake. Jonathan visited Rachel's office. Vincent woo. And stop. He'll try again. I know. That's why I want to hire you as my security consultant. Rachel's phone rang. It's Vincent. Answer it, let him talk. Vincent's voice was soft. Rachel, I heard you had trouble. Perhaps it's time to reconsider my merger proposal. Imagine the security you and your daughter would have under Sterling Corporation's protection. Your proposal remains rejected. It wasn't random violence, it was men you sent. Silence. Be careful what you say. And this new friend of yours, I hope he understands the risks of getting involved in situations beyond his comprehension. Is that a threat? It's advice. Jonathan smiled. He just made his first mistake. Direct threats on tape. Jonathan organized his operation with former military buddies. Vincent obtained a restraining order banning him from the building. Jonathan smiled. Perfect. Desperate men make bigger mistakes. That night, Vincent didn't notice the man following him, the camera in his car, or his phone conversations being recorded by military equipment operated by former Special Forces soldiers. The next morning, Vincent's secretary was nervous. A reporter from Channel 7 has questions about serious allegations. Vincent answered confidently. Vincent Sterling speaking. Mr. Sterling, would you like to comment on recordings where you confessed to ordering the attack on Rachel Blackwood? Vincent's blood ran cold. What recordings? His lawyer burst in. Someone leaked financial documents showing payments matching attack dates, and audio recordings where you mentioned physical persuasion. On Vincent's screen, billionaire confesses to violent attacks. Exclusive audio reveals criminal plot. That's impossible. No one had access. Vincent, there's a federal police van pulling up now. Jonathan sat in a cafe, watching developments unfold. 16 media outlets received the complete package, Amanda reported. Vincent made the classic mistake. He thought he was hunting prey and didn't realize he'd become the hunted. Federal agents arrested Vincent live on television. Vincent Sterling, you're under arrest for conspiracy, extortion, attempted murder, and criminal organization. Vincent shouted at cameras. I built an empire. This is a setup. But his desperate reactions only made it worse. Vincent's fall was brutal. Recordings revealed 15 years of intimidation. The board removed him. Stock plummeted 78%. Banks froze assets. His secretary gave an interview. He always said people like that janitor needed to know their place. He used horrible words for anyone he considered inferior. In federal prison, Vincent was assigned to cell 247. His cellmate was Marcus, a black former military man. So you're the famous billionaire. I hear you like to humiliate hard-working people. Vincent, who'd controlled everything through money, now discovered what it was like to be completely vulnerable. Jonathan resumed work but was promoted to Director of Corporate Security. I accept B, because I want to make sure no other Vincent Sterling can do this to anyone in this building. He implemented security protocols and created an anonymous channel for reporting abuse. 6 months later, Jonathan walked the halls in an impeccable suit, greeted respectfully by all. Sophie ran to hug him. "Mom said you're having dinner with us tonight." Rachel appeared, smiling. What had started as gratitude had become something deeper. At the penitentiary, Vincent swept floors in his orange uniform. "Hurry up, Sterling. You still have the cafeteria to clean." His cellmates had taught him lessons no business school could offer. His lawyer brought bad news. "You lost your appeal. 25 years upheld. Your former company is suing for $2 billion. Jonathan had become a national figure, lecturing at universities. Vincent Sterling was not defeated by revenge. He was defeated by his own arrogance. When you treat people as invisible, you forget they are watching, learning, and preparing. The last scene shows Vincent watching this interview in prison, finally realizing he'd underestimated not just one man, but an entire system of values money could never corrupt. Vincent tried to humiliate a janitor and ended up swept out of his own life. Jonathan proved the best revenge is not destroying your enemy, but building a success they could never imagine achieving.